He looked at me, his eyes 2 chips of ice, his face a mask of disbelief slowly cracking into devastation. And then he asked the question that shattered the air between us, the one I had no answer for. "William, did you agree?" My throat was a desert, my voice a ghost. All I wanted was to scream a circumflex euros no, a circumflex euros trade to grab him and tell him it was all a lie, a sick, twisted performance. But high above, the clear blue sky rumbled with an unnatural threat, a celestial aimed directly at me. My system, my warden, was holding a metaphorical gun to my head. Agree or be erased. And so, my silence became my answer. It was a betrayal so profound it felt like a physical blow, and I watched the last flicker of light in Henry Eurostrade's eyes die out. But to understand how we arrived at this impossible moment, this crossroads of forced cruelty and unspoken feelings, we have to go back to the very beginning, back to the day a man who apologizes when others bump into him, was forced to become the villain in someone else's Eurostrade's story. Do we really have to do this? I muttered, my voice barely a whisper, a futile protest against the disembodied voice in my head. It feels Euros fundamentally indecent. The system Eurostrade's reply was as cheerful as it was menacing. Yes, we cannot obstruct the sacred flow of the main narrative. Or would you prefer to be flash-fried by divine lightning? I hear the results are quite spectacular. Euros crispy on the outside, exquisitely tender on the inside. I ground my teeth so hard I was surprised they didn't turn to dust. That damned system, with its chipper, corporate drone tone, it should have been cast as the villain, not me. I sighed, a long, drawn-out sound of resignation, and lifted my gaze to the young man standing before me. Henry, his posture was ramrod straight, a silent defiance against the world that had done nothing but try to break him. For a fleeting moment, I considered rebellion. Then, the phantom smell of ozone and burnt toast filled my mind, and I reluctantly sacrificed my moral compass on the altar of self-preservation. I let my eyes trail over him, a slow, predatory appraisal that felt alien on my own face. I forced a smirk, the kind Eurostrade only ever seen on cartoonishly evil CEOs in movies. You clean up well, I drawled, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. Come on, let Eurostrade see what you are Eurostrade hiding under there. Take it off. I want a proper look. Henry Eurostrade's expression, already cold, dropped several degrees below freezing. He didn't Eurostrade move a muscle, his stillness a challenge. I mirrored his icy glare, channeling every ounce of asshole I could muster. The Harmony Hospital, I said, letting the name hang in the air. My family owns it. A word from me, and your mother could find herself on the street. Do you really want to test my patience right now? The words were poison, and I felt my own conscience shriveling with each syllable. This was monstrous. I was a monster. Henry Eurostrade's gaze, which had been a frozen tundra, now burned with the fires of pure hatred. He bit down hard on his lower lip, so hard that the color drained from it, leaving a stark white line against his pale skin. But the fight, whatever was left of it, lasted only a second. With a shuddering breath, his hand rose to the collar of his shirt, and with agonizing slowness, he began to unbutton it. When the fabric finally fell away, I was the one left stunned. My rehearsed lines, my villainous persona, it all evaporated. His skin was fair, but his body was anything but frail. It was a tapestry of violence, a constellation of bruises, in sickening shades of purple, blue, and mottled yellow painted his torso. Some were new, angry, and dark. Others were fading into ghostly outlines of past traumas. The sheer brutality of it stole the air from my lungs. Henrier Euro strayed farther. The thought was a surge of rage. How could anyone be so savage to their own child? Dosna Euro strayed he ever fight back? Character setting, the system chirped, oblivious to my horror. A mother in a coma, a father addicted to gambling, a broken son, a shattered family. Eater Euros trade the quintessential blueprint for a tragic romance. You see, I didn't Euros trade TC. All I saw was pain. The thought that I was now contractually obligated to add to this young Marner Euros trade's suffering, to torture him physically and mentally, made me feel like the lowest form of life on the planet. Who on earth dreams up these scenarios? I sighed internally, the weight of my role pressing down on me. I took a moment, tapping out a quick message on my phone before patting the empty space beside me on the plush sofa. Come here. Sit. Henrier Euros trade's hands clenched into white-knuckled fists at his sides. The humiliation was a visible aura around him, a shimmering heat of shame and anger. Yet he complied. He walked towards me, his steps measured and deliberate, and I noted with a strange sense of detachment that despite being the designated a circumflex Euros receiver Euros trade in this twisted story, he was tall, taller than me even. As he stood before me, the door to the private room swung open. One of my subordinates entered, head bowed respectfully, placed a small jar of ointment on the table, and retreated as silently as he came. I leaned back, trying to project an air of lazy arrogance. I spread my legs in a casual V, tossing the small, cool jar from hand to hand. Well, sit down. Or do you need a formal, engraved invitation? He sat on my thigh. The contact was a jolt. He was all sharp angles and bone, far too thin, and the proximity was unnerving. What are Euros? What do you want? It was the first time he had spoken, his voice a low, rough thing. I raised an eyebrow, forcing the cruel smirk back onto my face. What do I want? War Euros trade sitting on my lap, half naked. You tell me what I want. I paused, my voice dropping to a theatrical purr. Now be a good boy. Doma Euros trade move. I twisted the lid off the jar. The ointment inside was a cool, pale green. I scooped a generous amount onto my fingers, and before I could second-guess myself, I began to smooth it over the angriest of the bruises on his back. I don't Euros trade know if it was the shock of the cold cream or the sting on his raw skin, but his entire body went rigid. A violent tremor ran through him, and he tensed up like a drawn bowstring. He said nothing. I said nothing. There was only the quiet, rhythmic motion of my hand applying the medicine, a strange, intimate act wrapped in a veneer of cruelty. 10 minutes passed in that loaded silence. Finally, I shifted. Get off. My letter Euros trade done numb. Henry stood up mechanically, his brow furrowed in a complex expression I couldn't Euros trade begin to decipher. I let my gaze sweep over him again, from head to toe, and clicked my tongue in theatrical disgust. Look at you, all battered and bruised, utterly hideous. Your Euros trade completely killed the mood. I waved a dismissive hand. Your Euros trade an ISR. Go home, heal yourself, and don't Euros trade come back until you are Euros trade something worth looking at. Host, you magnificent buffoon. What was that? The system shrieked in my mind. You are Euros trade supposed to be tormenting him, not playing nursemaid. I crossed my legs, feeling a sliver of satisfaction. I am tormenting him, I retorted silently. Eater Euros trade s all about psychological warfare these days. Verbal abuse, undermining his self-worth, attacking his defenses. Physical violence is so last season, darling. Only cheap, old-fashioned melodramas stoop to that level. Henry hadn't Euros trade T moved. He just stood there, a statue of confusion and quiet pain. What? I snapped. Are you deaf? Or are you secretly hoping Euros trade LL let you crawl into my bed after all? I sighed dramatically. Fine. Eater Euros trade S late, and I can't Euros trade T be bothered to make the call tonight. Your mother can stay put for a few more days. Now scram. War Euros trade ruining my evening. He stared at me for a long, unblinking moment, as if trying to solve a complex equation. Then, slowly, he reached for his shirt, pulled it on, and with one last, lingering glance in my direction, he opened the door and was gone. The instant the latch clicked shut, all the tension drained out of me. I let out a whoosh of air and slid from the sofa onto the floor, sprawling out like a starfish, staring blankly at the ornate ceiling. Euros trade am a good person, a genuinely decent human being. Euros trade am the guy who helps old ladies with their groceries, who volunteers at the animal shelter. And this system, this cosmic casting director, had to pick me to be the villain. It was either blind or had a truly wicked sense of humor. Was this whole exercise meant to torture Henry, or was I the real victim here? Damn you, system, I grumbled at the ceiling. I heard that, it chirped back. And Euros trade am noting it in your performance review. Good, I shot back. I hope you do. A week later, a call came from the Harmony Hospital. The administrator Euros trade's voice was polite but firm. A patient in a persistent vegetative state had overdue fees. Should they proceed with a compulsory discharge? My blood ran cold. It had to be Henry Euros trade's mother. The car accident 3 years ago, the coma, the brain-dead diagnosis. It was all part of his tragic backstory. Don't Euros trade T do anything, I said, my voice sharp. Euros trade am on my way. An hour later, I stood by her bedside. She was beautiful, even in this state. Her features were delicate, her bone structure so perfect it was almost painful to look at, though her cheeks were hollowed out by years of illness. This woman, this sleeping beauty, was Henry Euros trade's entire world, his only vulnerability. He was a postgraduate student at a top university, pouring every penny of his scholarship money into keeping her here, surviving on whatever scraps were left over. My decision was instant. Upgrade her to the VIP suite, I told the hospital director who had accompanied me. Assign her a dedicated, round-the-clock nurse. Euros trade LL cover all expenses, past and future. The hospital staff, aware of who paid their salaries, moved with startling efficiency. As I was leaving, just as the elevator doors were about to close, I saw him, Henry, rushing through the lobby, his face etched with panic and dread. He must have gotten the payment demand call. My dearest, most beloved host, the system pleaded in my mind, its voice dripping with desperation. I am begging you, on my virtual knees, please, for the love of the plot, stick to the script. You may have a death wish, but I have performance metrics and a salary to protect. Don't Euros trade T make my life difficult. Relax, I muttered under my breath. I don't Euros trade T want to be turned into a charcoal briquette either. Euros trade V got this. I stepped out of the elevator and moved to intercept him. I became his shadow. He moved left, I moved left. He darted right, I was there, blocking his path. Finally, he stopped, his eyes flashing with a dangerous light. Eurostrade LL admit, it was intimidating, but I forced myself to stand my ground, tilting my chin up in a parody of arrogance. Got the money for Mummy Eurostrade's hospital stay? I asked, my tone dripping with condescension. This isn't a Eurostrade tea, a charity, you know. You can't Eurostrade tea just squat here indefinitely without paying. Henry flinched as if Eurostrade tea struck him. He took a step back, his fists clenching again. After a long, tense silence, he spoke, his voice strained. Give me more time. A week. Eurostrade LL have the money in a week. Karner Eurostrade T wait, I said breezily. Timir Eurostrade S up. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Henria Eurostrade's face was ashen, the telltale sign of long-term malnutrition stark under the harsh fluorescent lights. He pressed his lips into a thin line. 3 days. Eurostrade LL pay everything in 3 days. I let a slow, cruel smile spread across my face. I could see a vein throbbing at his temple. He turned, defeated. Eurostrade lar euros Eurostrade LL go handle the discharge papers now. Hey, I called out as he walked past me. He paused, his back to me. Almost forgot to tell you. Eurostrade V upgraded your mother to the penthouse suite. Private nurse, top-tier care, the best treatment in the entire hospital. All expenses waived. Ward 888. You should go take a look. I let the information sink in before delivering the final blow. Of course my generosity comes with conditions. Henry turned slowly, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. He scrutinized me for a long moment before finally speaking. What conditions? I gave him my most wicked grin. Come to my place tonight. You are Eurostrade going to pay with your body. He agreed. Of course he agreed. He had no other choice, which left me in a very real, very terrifying predicament. Pay with his body? I was a 25-year-old virgin whose most intimate relationship had been with my own right hand. What was I supposed to do? My performance would be laughably short. Damn my big mouth and my addiction to those trashy green novel apps. This was all their fault. But the role had to be played. The show had to go on. I called my staff and had them prepare a guest room. Then I waited and waited. Evening bled into night, and there was still no sign of him. System, I asked, pacing my living room. Eurostrade's not going to stand me up, is he? Did he just run for it? The monk can run, but the temple can't Eurostrade T, the system replied matter-of-factly. You are Eurostrade the villain. Go get your man. Take some muscle with you. Farter Euros actually made sense. Wasting no time, I gathered 10 of my most imposing bodyguards and we set off in a convoy of black cars, a menacing parade heading towards Henry Eurostrade's dilapidated address. And when I say dilapidated, I mean it was one step away from being condemned. The old wooden door hung askew, the lock shattered. The inside was a chaotic landscape of broken furniture and debris. And in the middle of it all was Henry. He was pinned to the floor by several thugs with garish tattoos, his eyes glaring with venom at a bald man who stood over him. I signaled my men to stay back, and we watched from the shadows of the doorway. System, war Eurostrade's that, I whispered. That would be daddy dearest, the system confirmed. Lost big at the gambling table again, I presume. Now he Eurostrade's shaking down his son for cash. The bald Murner Eurostrade's voice was a whiny, wheedling thing. Son, Dad didn't Eurostrade T want to do this, but you are Eurostrade re being so ungrateful. You have money to keep that half-dead woman in a fancy hospital, but you can't Eurostrade T spare a little to help your own father in his time of need. A living person versus someone war Eurostrade S practically a corpse Euros can't Eurostrade TUC water Eurostrade S more important. I'll Eurostrade LL ask you one last time. Are you giving me the 200 yuan or not? Henry licked a trickle of blood from the corner of his mouth and let out a harsh, mocking laugh. If you are Eurostrade V got the guts, just kill me. Fine. You asked for it. Keep hitting him. That was it. I saw red. I stormed forward and launched a powerful kick, sending one of the thugs sprawling. The others turned on me, but before their fists could even get close, they were swarmed by my black-suited bodyguards, neutralized and pinned down with brutal efficiency. The bald man started spewing a torrent of filth, a creative string of insults involving my mother, which earned him a rapid succession of 5 or 6 slaps that immediately silenced him. In less than a minute, the tables had turned completely. The arrogant bolas were now a line of cowering wretches huddled together like rats. I picked my way through the wreckage on the floor and walked over to Henry. I hooked a finger under his chin, tilting his bruised face from side to side. Which one of them hit you? He just looked at me, his jaw set, and said nothing. Fine, I sighed. If you wanna Eurostrade T talk, then we Eurostrade LL just have to be thorough. Beat them all. The ensuing chorus of whimpers and pleas for mercy was grimly satisfying. After about 30 seconds, I turned my attention back to the bald man, crouching down to look him directly in his swollen, terrified eyes. Do you know who Henry is? He stammered. He Eurostrade S my son. Slap. A crisp, stinging sound. Wrong answer. Try again. He really is my son. Slap. Slap. 2 more for emphasis. Letter Eurostrade S try this one more time. I don't Eurostrade T know him. The man blubbered. I Eurostrade LL never come looking for him again. I swear, please, I was wrong. Farter Eurostrade S better, I said, my voice a low purr. Listen closely. Henry belongs to me now. He is this young master Eurostrade S plaything. You touch him, you are Eurostrade retouching me. And I Eurostrade am not a nice person. You mess with me, and I will personally chop off your hands and your feet. Do we have an understanding? The Marna Eurostrade S jowls quivered with terror. Why yes, I understand. Get lost. My bodyguards formed 2 lines, creating a path to the door. The thugs scrambled to their feet and scurried away like the vermin they were. In that moment, standing amidst the chaos I had orchestrated, I felt a strange, exhilarating rush. Playing the villain Euros, it was intoxicating. I could do this for 100 more episodes. Why did you come here? Henry Eurostrade S voice cut through my power trip. I stood up, brushing non-existent dust from my clothes. I summoned my most practiced, one-sided, villainous smirk. To collect my payment, of course. I came to catch you and make you pay with your body. I brought Henry home. The moment we stepped through the door, I collapsed onto the sofa, the master of the house issuing his decree. Take off your clothes. Without a word, without any change in his stoic expression, Henry complied. Under the bright, unforgiving lights of my living room, the damage was even more apparent. A fresh layer of bruises now overlaid the fading ghosts of the old ones. It was a vicious cycle. With a life setting this tragic, he didn't need me to torture him. The world was already doing a thorough job. The original author of this story was a sadist. Maintaining my cold facade, I jerked my head towards the guest bedroom. "Get on the bed." Henry's eyes fluttered shut for a moment, a sign of weary resignation. He let out a deep breath and shuffled into the room like a man walking to his own execution. "Host, don't you worry," the system chirped helpfully in my ear. "During our main event, a privacy shield will be automatically activated. Your session will be completely confidential. No live broadcasts for me to awkwardly witness." "How very considerate of you," I thought with a roll of my eyes. I followed him into the bedroom, only to find him standing frozen by the door. "What's wrong?" "I told you to get on the bed." My gaze followed his, and the words died in my throat. Spread across the pristine white duvet, as if arranged for a photo shoot, was an assortment of Euros props. A small leather whip, a feather tickler, silk ropes, a delicate ankle chain. Someone had been very, very proactive in preparing the room. "Who cleaned in here?" I wanted to scream. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. Instead, I strode forward with purpose, swept the entire embarrassing collection off the bed and into the nearest trash can, and then turned back to him, pretending I hadn't seen a thing. I patted the mattress with a serious expression. "Come on, lie down. On your stomach." Henry's eyelids lifted. He gave me a quick, unreadable glance before kneeling on the bed and settling onto his stomach as instructed. He was remarkably obedient. I pulled the imported, high-grade ointment from my pocket. Euros, the same kind Euros trade D used before Euros, and began applying it liberally to his wounded back, slathering it on as if it were free. The muscles beneath my hand clenched instantly, a hard knot of pain and tension, before slowly, gradually, relaxing under the steady pressure. After I finished with his back, I tapped his shoulder. "Turn over." He pushed himself up, his face a canvas of confusion. "Give it to me," he said, his voice quiet. "I can do it myself." "Oh, okay." It made sense. He could reach the wounds on his chest and ribs. I propped my chin on my hand and watched as he methodically applied the ointment himself. "All right, you can rest. Toiletries are in the bathroom. Try not to get the wounds wet." I stretched, a long, lazy gesture meant to convey boredom, and started to leave. "William," his voice stopped me at the door. "Did you bring me here Euros just to put medicine on me?" My heart stuttered. I'd forgotten my lines. I'd forgotten my role. I immediately snapped back into character, my posture straightening, my arms folding across my chest. I plastered on an expression that was 3 parts sarcasm and 4 parts disgust. "Look at yourself. You think I'd have any desire for something so Euros damaged? I don't like floored toys. You'd better take care of yourself. Because if your appearance displeases me, if my mood sours because I have to look at you, I might just decide your mother's treatment is an unnecessary expense." I spat the cruel words out, deliberately ignoring the subtle twitch of his jaw, the flicker of hurt in his eyes. Then I turned on my heel and left, closing the door behind me. "Son, you are phoning it in," the system immediately complained. "Is that it? Is that the whole abuse scene? He's supposed to be your caged bird, and you're just repeatedly insulting his appearance. He's failing at his one job, which is to please his sugar daddy, and you're giving him a workplace performance review. This isn't abuse, this is just bad management." I had officially taken Henry captive. I was determined to be a model villain, to follow the plot of tormenting my victim with the utmost dedication. My methods were specific and, in my opinion, diabolically clever, forcing him to eat my leftovers, depriving him of his freedom, and subjecting him to unparalleled physical agony. I thought I was doing a stellar job. The system, however, was basically filing a formal grievance. "May I ask," it said with strained politeness, "how exactly do you define leftovers? You didn't even touch the abalone, the wagyu steak, or the lobster. You had 2 bites of a single pork rib and then declared the entire feast leftovers for him to finish. Is that your idea of cruelty?" I was no longer hungry, I sniffed. Technically, they were left over. So yes, leftovers. And the deprivation of freedom. The system pressed on, its tone getting dangerously thin. "I have imposed a strict curfew. He must be home by 7 p.m. every single night. He has no social life. He has to report to my house by 2 p.m. every day after his classes. Is that not our gilded cage? And the physical abuse, the unparalleled physical pain?" I hired 2 of the best blind masseurs in the city to perform a deep tissue acupressure massage on him. Have you ever had one of those? It hurts. It's agony. Just tell me, does it hurt or not? The system went silent. It was a silence filled with rage, impotence, and the quiet fizzling of its logic circuits. It had no rebuttal. As for Henry, he was a puzzle. In the beginning, he resisted. When I'd order him to eat the leftovers, he'd take a few small, hesitant bites, as if expecting the food to be poisoned. But the moment I mentioned his mother, he'd become instantly compliant, dutifully eating whatever I gestured towards. The curfew was the same. After a few token threats, he was never late. On the rare occasion he had a late seminar at the university, he would even text me in advance to let me know. He was euros a model captive. I was immensely pleased with my progress. The system was on the verge of a complete meltdown. It informed me that I had, on 2 separate occasions, performed a Gokuraku Jodo dance on the very edge of divine punishment. If I kept this up, it warned, I wouldn't just be sent to the Pure Land, I'd be express shipped there. Forced to escalate, I began peppering my days with intermittent bouts of verbal cruelty. "Don't get any funny ideas," I'd sneer while handing him a bowl of bird's nest soup. "Don't even think about escaping me. You're nothing but a dog I keep. Now be a good boy and eat your sea cucumber. Your face is as pale as a ghost's. It's obvious your circulation is terrible. You're going to give me a heart attack if I run into you in the middle of the night. Come over here and soak your feet," I'd command, pointing to a basin of herd-infused hot water. "You're my property now. Why are you still acting so reserved?" During his painful massages, I'd lean in close and whisper, "If you can't take the pain, don't hold it in. Scream. I love hearing the sound of screaming. Master, press harder on that pressure point. He looks like he can take it." Over time, the way Henry looked at me began to change. It shifted from humiliation to confusion, then to a quiet, numb indifference. After 2 months, my most creative insults and threats couldn't elicit so much as a flicker of emotion from him. He would simply respond to my tirades with a soft "oh" or "I see," which had the infuriating effect of making me, the one delivering the epic villain monologue, feel like a complete and utter fool. I wasn't straight sure if he was feeling abused, but I certainly was. And finally, after 2 months of my relentless, long-term campaign of psychological torment and force-feeding, Henry successfully gained 6 pounds. "William, my man, good to see you. Let's have a drink." In the dim, smoky light of the exclusive club's private room, I forced a smile that felt more like a grimace. I raised my glass of sparkling water and clinked it against my friend's. To the good times, I said, my voice hollow. Tonight was critical. This gathering of spoiled, wealthy heirs was a major turning point in Henry's story. The man sitting right beside me, Sebastian, was the main male lead, the conquering hero destined to rescue Henry from my villainous clutches and redeem him with the power of love. The system had been buzzing in my ear for days, me that tonight's plot points were non-negotiable. One screw up, and we'd both be in for a world of hurt. So here I was, the only person in this room besides Sebastian who wasn't a one-dimensional antagonist, smiling a smile more bitter than medicine. "Hey, William," one of the guys slurred, draping an arm over my shoulder. "I hear you've got yourself a new pet. A real beauty, they say. How's he handle? Never been with a man myself. Is it as thrilling as they say?" I leaned back into the plush leather, brushing a stray strand of hair from my eyes, trying desperately to find my character. "I got one," I admitted, my voice a low, bored drawl. "But he's not very well trained. Requires constant discipline." A murmur of interest went around the room. I saw Sebastian cast a curious glance in my direction. "Well, bring him out. Let's all have a look." Another one chimed in. "I heard he's a post-grad from University A. William, you've got some serious game to bag a prize like that." I offered a mysterious smile and unlocked my phone. The screen lit up with a series of recent messages from Henry. "It's 10 p.m. Are you coming home? Where are you? Where am I? I'm on my way to ruin your life, my dear." I sighed, a wave of weariness washing over me, and dialed his number. He picked up before the third ring. "Henry," I said, my voice cold and commanding. "Cloud Club, Box 1088. You have 30 minutes. 1 minute late, and you know the consequences." I hung up with a decisive snap before he could reply. I knew he would come. He couldn't afford not to. What I didn't expect was for him to arrive in 15 minutes, standing in the doorway drenched to the bone, his hair plastered to his forehead, his clothes clinging to his lean frame. "Sorry," he said, his voice even, though he was breathing heavily. "It's raining and the traffic was bad." He ran here. He ran all the way here in the pouring rain. My God, what have I done? Someone let out a vulgar whistle, and the sound snapped me back to reality. I suppressed the ache in my chest and put on my mask of indifference. I poured a glass of amber liquor, filling it to the brim. "Punctual, I'll give you that. Since you're here, have a drink. A little toast to entertain the guests. They've all been waiting for you." Henry's eyes, sharp and intelligent, narrowed slightly as he stared at the glass. "Don't want to drink," I taunted, leaning back. "That's fine. There's another option. Come here and sit." I pursed my lips, a clear, public invitation for a kiss. This was the moment. The script dictated that Henry, who was severely allergic to alcohol, would be so disgusted by me that he'd choose to drink the poison rather than touch my lips. The allergic reaction would land him in the hospital, where the heroic Sebastian would swoop in and save the day. I sighed internally for the 100th time that night. Forcing a man to drink something I knew could kill him or euros, I was a true monster. Every eye in the room, including Sebastian's, was fixed on Henry. The air was thick with anticipation. After a long, charged silence, he lifted his gaze. He walked towards me, his steps unwavering, and reached for the glass of wine. He picked it up, swirling the liquid, his face a mask of cold resolve. I discreetly palmed the allergy medication in my pocket, my heart hammering against my ribs. But then, in a move that shattered the entire plot, He set the glass down with a soft click of disgust. His hand, in a single fluid motion, shot out and grabbed the front of my shirt, yanking me forward with surprising strength. And then his lips were on mine. I stared, wide-eyed, at the impossibly close landscape of his face. My brain short-circuited. I completely forgot how to breathe. The room erupted in a chaotic cacophony of hoots and cheers, but it all sounded like it was coming from a million miles away. All I knew was the firm, insistent pressure of Henry's mouth on mine. He wasn't just kissing me, he was conquering me, prying my jaw open, deepening the kiss until my head swam and my lips went numb. Finally, he pulled back. I was left gasping, my mind a complete blank. "Why?" I stammered, the words barely coherent. "Why would you kiss me?" He straightened up, looking down at me with an unreadable expression. "You told me to." No, I didn't. This isn't how it was supposed to go." I frantically tried to reach the system in my head, but there was only static. It had gone completely offline. My face was on fire. Surrounded by the lewd laughter and teasing comments of the others, I couldn't stay a second longer. I grabbed Henry's arm and practically dragged him out of the room. "Whoa, William, can't wait to get home. Lust has clearly addled his brain. Pace yourself, William. Don't break your new toy on the first night." I ignored them, my only focus on getting out. As I pulled the door shut behind us, I caught one last glimpse of the room. Sebastian had picked up the glass of wine, the one Henry had almost drunk. He was staring at the door, at us, his expression dark. And then, he slowly, deliberately put his mouth to the rim of the glass where Henry's fingers had been. A chill went down my spine. The sight filled me with a deep, unsettling rawness. I slammed the door and hauled Henry towards the exit, into the waiting car, and barked at the driver to go. The ride home was shrouded in a thick, suffocating silence. I found a spare dry shirt in the car and tossed it to him, but otherwise we didn't speak. I could feel his eyes on me, a steady, unnerving gaze that made my skin prickle and my heart pound a frantic, uneven rhythm. When we finally got home, I pulled him into the guest room, the same one from before, and shut the door. The question that had been burning in my mind all the way home finally burst out. "Why didn't you drink the wine?" Henry leaned against the wall, his arms crossed over his chest. His answer was simple, logical. "I am allergic to alcohol. Drinking it could kill me. I value my life. Kissing you was the logical alternative." There was nothing wrong with his reasoning. It was perfectly sound, and yet it felt like there was something more. My hesitation must have been written all over my face, because he took a step forward, closing the distance between us. "What?" he asked, his voice low. "Are you disappointed? You didn't seem to enjoy the kiss very much." "No, it's not that," I mumbled, flustered. The truth was, his lips had been surprisingly soft. "It was just what do you think of Sebastian?" "Who?" "The man in black, sitting to my right." Henry's expression was one of genuine indifference. "I don't know. To be honest, aside from you, I didn't really notice anyone else in that room." My God, the plot hadn't just gone off the rails, it had taken a detour through Siberia. He took another step closer, trapping me between his body and the edge of the bed. "William, you're acting very strange tonight." He paused, his eyes searching mine. "No, you've always been strange. You tied me to your side, claiming you wanted me to repay you with my body, but you've never once asked me for anything. You've never even touched me. Why don't you want me?" What could I say? How could I possibly answer that? The system hadn't provided a script for this scenario. Of the 36 stratagems, flight was my only option. You got caught in the rain. You should take a hot shower. Go to bed early. I turned to flee, but a hand shot out and grabbed my wrist. A powerful tug sent me stumbling backward, and I landed flat on my back on the bed with an undignified oof. Before I could react, Henry was over me, one knee on the mattress, his body caging mine. The sense of oppression was overwhelming. "Why are you running?" he whispered, his face inches from mine. "You're the one who was always telling me not to even think about running away from you. But now, you're the one trying to escape. Why is that?" His handsome features were so close, his dark eyes like deep pools, and I found myself swallowing hard. His gaze drifted downwards, lingering on my mouth. He reached out a hand, the pad of his thumb gently tracing the curve of my lower lip. His eyes narrowed. "William," he murmured, his voice a seductive rumble that vibrated through my entire body. "I've owed you a payment for a long time now. How about I finally settle that €10 tonight?" And then he kissed me again. This time, there was no audience, no pretense. Just a raw, undeniable hunger. My hands clenched the bedsheets, twisting the fabric into knots. It was an onslaught, a torrent of sensation that forced my head back, that stole the air from my lungs. One of the buttons on my shirt popped open under the intensity. My mind was a chaotic storm, and a searing heat flooded my veins, pooling low in my belly. How could he be so good at this? It was intoxicating, dizzying. Just when I thought I was going to pass out from lack of oxygen, he finally pulled away. He shifted his body, a mischievous, deliberate friction against mine that sent a jolt of pure electricity through me. He leaned in, his lips brushing against my ear, his hot breath making me shiver. "Do you want me to help you with that?" he whispered. "I can make you feel good. I promise €6 you'll like it." I was going to die. Right here, right now, of acute overstimulation. I was just a simple, inexperienced virgin. This was too much. With a surge of adrenaline-fueled panic, I planted my hands on his chest and shoved, pushing him back just enough to create some space. I scrambled off the bed, my face burning with a heat that had nothing to do with embarrassment and everything to do with arousal. "€8, I'm a little tired tonight," I stammered, trying to sound tough and failing miserably. "We'll deal with you tomorrow." Without waiting for a reply, without even grabbing my shoes, I fled. I didn't dare look back as I scurried out of the room like a frightened rabbit. I stumbled into my own bedroom, slammed the door, and locked it, slumping against the cool wood, my breath coming in hot, ragged gasps. The Henry from just €9, he was a different person. Dangerous. Seductive. He'd almost devoured me whole. I risked a glance down at myself and cursed under my breath. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. 1 kiss €, all right. 2 kisses €, and I was a complete mess. After sitting on the floor for what felt like an eternity, waiting for my body to betray me less obviously, I finally gave up and trudged towards the bathroom for a very, very cold shower. An hour later, clean and feeling marginally more in control, I collapsed onto my bed. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. It was a message from Sebastian. 3 million. I'll buy him from you. I frowned. What kind of male lead talks like this? He sounded like a human trafficker. It was repulsive. "No," I texted back. "He's not for sale. I cherish him." I added the words, feeling surprisingly true. The reply was instantaneous. "How much? Name your price." The idea of Sebastian owning Henry Treating him like a commodity made my stomach turn. The possessive way he Euros trade D looked at that wine glass of Euros. Could Henry ever truly be happy with someone like that? He's a person, I typed, my thumbs jabbing at the screen. I won't sell him for any price. I'd worked too hard to fatten up this cabbage. I wasn't about to let some wolf carry him off, official couple or not. I tossed the phone aside, my decision made. It was then, of course, that the system chose to rematerialize. System, where the hell have you been? I mentally screamed at it. What is going on with Henry? He's completely off script. And Sebastian is a creep. Are you sure he's the good guy here? Because I think our Euros stop torquing. The system shrieked, its voice frayed with static and panic. The moment Henry kissed you, I got a code red, category 5 alarm here. I was emergency called to headquarters. And then what? And then I was docked a month's salary and an entire quarter's performance bonus. It wailed. 4 euros, you monster. For some reason, I felt a pang of guilt. The system proceeded to chew me out for a solid 10 minutes, calling me the worst host it had ever been assigned to. A menace who constantly danced in a minefield and precisely stepped on the edge of every single penalty without ever quite triggering the big one. Headquarters was displeased, and since they couldn't punish me directly, they took it out on my poor, long-suffering system. Next time, it finished with a sob, if you do something like this again, I will hang myself in your consciousness. I swear it. The next day was the weekend. Henry was going to the hospital to visit his mother, and since I had nothing better to do, I drove him. The atmosphere in the car was thick with a strange, awkward tension. I found myself unable to meet his eyes, while he, on the other hand, seemed perfectly content to stare at me openly. It felt like our roles had been completely reversed. When we arrived, I opted to wait by the car while he went up. I leaned against the hood, trying to distract myself with a cartoon on my phone, when a pair of gleaming, ridiculously expensive leather shoes entered my field of vision. Sebastian. William. Don't look so disgusted to see me, he said with a lazy smile. I'm not your enemy. I remained silent. He took out a cigarette and lit it, the smoke curling up into the clear air. I've been thinking about my offer. Perhaps 3 million wasn't a sincere enough gesture. So, how about this? I'll give you the entire West City development project. That's $1 billion deal. All for him. He took a drag from his cigarette. I'm genuinely interested in Henry. And I don't mind that he's been a Euros broken in by you. A project for a plaything. It's a bargain, wouldn't you say? My knuckles turned white as I clenched my fists. I wanted nothing more than to smash his perfectly smug face in. Don't be impulsive, the system screamed in my head. This is part of the plot. He's supposed to be abrasive. This is him making a grand gesture to convince you to let go. This is a crucial scene. If you refuse again, you will actually be struck by lightning. Don't believe me? Just try it. I was unhappy. I was furious. I wanted to see what a lightning strike felt like. Sorry, I began, my voice dangerously low. But I want a Euros crack. A bolt of lightning erupted from the cloudless sky, striking a tree not 20 feet away. It exploded in a shower of splinters, leaving behind a blackened, smoking husk. Point taken. It would, in fact, kill me. I obediently snapped my mouth shut. Just then, Henry walked out of the hospital entrance, heading towards us. William. When Sebastian saw him, his face lit up with a predatory grin. He extended a hand. Hello, I'm Sebastian. We met last night." Henry gave him a cursory glance and a slight nod, completely ignoring the outstretched hand. He walked straight to my side. "My mother is stable. We can go back now." He turned to leave, but Sebastian blocked his path. "Wait, is there a problem?" Henry asked, his tone icy. Sebastian retracted his hand, his smile never faltering. "I just bought you from William. The West City project was the price. So, from now on, you'll be coming home with me." Henry didn't even hesitate. "Impossible. William would never agree to that." "But he didn't refuse either," Sebastian countered smoothly. "Did you, William?" Two pairs of eyes, one burning with hope and the other with cold certainty, pinned me in place. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I couldn't agree, and I was forbidden to refuse. I watched as Henry Eurostrade's posture, which had been relaxed, slowly turned rigid. The color drained from his face, leaving him pale and fragile. "William," he said again, his voice barely a whisper, a thread of sound that threatened to snap. "Did you agree?" My words were trapped, suffocated by the system Eurostrade's threats. The sky above began to rumble again, a low, ominous. I took a deep, shuddering breath, my fingernails digging into my palms so hard I thought I might draw blood. Finally, under the system Eurostrade's relentless prodding, I forced the words out, my own voice sounding distant and alien, as if it belonged to someone else. "Don't worry about your mother. I'll make sure someone takes good care of her." Henry stared at me for a long, silent moment, and then he laughed. It wasn't a sound of humor or joy. It was a harsh, broken, sarcastic sound that tore through the quiet afternoon. "I see. I'm just a commodity to be traded." He looked at Sebastian, his eyes devoid of all emotion. "Since it's William's arrangement, of course I'll obey." He walked past me, his shoulder brushing mine, a fleeting contact that felt like a brand. He didn't get into Sebastian's car. He simply walked to the curb, flagged down a taxi, and disappeared into the stream of traffic. I stood there for a long time, an empty vessel in the afternoon sun. I had an overwhelming urge to smoke, followed by the depressing realization that I didn't know how. Defeated and furious with myself, with the world, I could only manage a single, bitter curse. When I returned to the empty house, everything was just as I had left it, but a vital presence was gone. The silence was deafening. I walked to the second bedroom. His clothes were still hanging in the closet. He hadn't taken anything with him. What did that mean? Was he coming back? My phone buzzed. It was another message from Sebastian. "Henry is here with me. The project transfer will be initiated tomorrow. Now that he is mine, I trust you will have no further contact with him." The faint spark of hope that had ignited in my chest was instantly extinguished. I sank onto the sofa, the feeling of being choked returning, stronger and more suffocating than ever before.